Hey guys, welcome to the Ali Show. And today we have a very special guest, Matt Vaile, professional MMA fighter. How are you, Matt?
How's it, bro? Yeah, I'm pretty good, man.
How have you been?
Yeah, good. Been pretty busy. Just come off a win the other weekend. Finally back in the winners column.
Yeah, that was on the XFC. And where was it held at? In
Dunedin.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. First time down there actually. It's a cool
Oh,
place.
really?
Yeah. It's a good thing with fighting there. You get to travel around the place. It's a good spot down there. But XFC show, it's the only one they have in New Zealand. It's sort of run through Matt Vaile's gym down there. Yeah, it was a good show.
How was the the whole experience from I understand you actually hold the XFC belt as well. Am I correct?
That's right. So XFC is originally from Australia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Brisbane it all started. So it's one of the longest running MMA promotions in Australia. I think it is the longest running since 2003.
Yeah.
Had fighters like Hector Lombard fight on, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I think in the last maybe 2 years Matt brought it over to New Zealand to have a New Zealand XFC. So
oh, nice.
Yeah. I think the fights and the bouts that were done the other weekend is sort of held as the New Zealand titles, and then the other ones are Australian. So I have both.
Oh, so there's a separate one.
I think that's how they're doing it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good as well. You have the local one and so the other one will be an international one.
Yeah. You call it Australasian. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So that you're currently holding a record of 11-2, am I correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, nice. That's quite a number of fights. When was your first fight?
So I think we were going back for MMA. It was about 2014. And that was in Hamilton, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there was a
which is where we are now. For those who are wondering, we're actually in Hamilton right now. Yeah, small Hamilton. Yeah.
So that was a show called Beatdown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a couple of local guys started that promotion, which is now run by our gym, and they run a
CORE MMA.
CORE MMA.
Which is the gym that you fight out of mostly now.
Yeah.
I
fight out of CORE MMA, but get training around the place, try and find sparring partners in that. But yeah, we pretty much have it all down there.
Mainly
So
it's CORE MMA.
Yeah, that's us. So yeah, that was the first fight at the Beatdown show at Cortlands Arena, and sort of went into that fight. It was said that I was gonna just fight a blue belt in BJJ.
Oh,
yeah. And I only done sort of Taekwondo, kickboxing. In the past, I had my black belt in that.
You have a from what I understand, you have a Taekwondo
background.
Black belt. Okay. We'll just pause there for a second. I want to ask you, how did you, or when and how did you get into combat sports and Taekwondo and all that? Did you start at a young age or?
Yeah, I think at a young age. I think I was always one of those real hypo kids.
Too much energy.
Yeah, I remember me and my cousin doing karate with Terry Hill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Terry Hill's one of the OGs of the fight game in New Zealand.
Nice.
And he had a gym at Body FX, and it was along Trapa Straight. And it used to have karate out of there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember me and my cousin used to do karate there for a couple of years. I think I got my green belt, but then they ended up moving, and I stopped after that. And then it was later on in high school. We were in elite sports program, and they had a martial arts teacher come to school.
Oh,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And he sort of did the sort of Taekwondo style.
Yeah, I think usually, mostly for the younger, they'll try to bring Taekwondo is a popular sport to bring to the kids.
Yeah, I think so. It's sort of it's got a lot of good disciplines about it. Yeah,
and I think generally there's not as much sparring in Taekwondo.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean
it's a bit more lighter contact. This wasn't fully traditional, but it was called incorporated martial arts. So it had,
hey, you don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video.
like grappling, Taekwondo style and stick fighting. So like a little bit of like weapons. But like when we say grappling, our grappling was like, I remember having like hour rolls, like just trying to choke each other with like an elbow on the throat. Like it was like Stone Age as we didn't have like any BJJ. It was like, it was looking back, it just cracks me up.
That's like do what you can. And
it's just manhandling. It's like, it's so good to look back on and just be like, man, I didn't actually know much.
So that whole did you had to go through like that whole grading thing for Taekwondo?
100%. So I started at Incorporated Martial Arts when I was 13, and then went through the ranks there all the way up until black belt, and I think I got my second degree black belt, and that took about 13 years. So
wow.
It got to, I was about 26, and I had a couple of MMA fights by then, and then pretty much transitioned into just doing full MMA and started at CORE MMA, so sort of changed gyms.
When did you started like fully training at CORE MMA?
So that was not too long ago. It was probably only, what are we looking back, in the last probably 4 years. Yeah, we transitioned over just for the use of sort of sparring partners and stuff like that, and just having a more team around you that is sort of looking towards the same goals, where it was before it was just sort of like a martial arts gym. So yeah, it was definitely a good move. Yeah.
And you also train with a fellow UFC fighter, Luke Jumo.
That's it.
Did I get his name right?
Yeah, but that's it, Luke Jumo.
Yeah, yeah, and he also trains out of CORE MMA as well.
That's it.
What is it? What is it like training at CORE MMA? What do you? Because the thing is also like for Hamilton, there's not as much like sparring partners or like higher quality. Or people who really in like the professional ranks. Yeah,
there's not the same amount of people that are putting their full time into it, you could say. There's sort of a broad range of people at the gym that we just use everyone from each sort of different areas. Like we have a couple of the Commonwealth wrestling team, a really strong BJJ team, and then a real strong like kickboxing, and then a lot of the gyms from within Hamilton. Like we even did this when we were Incorporated Martial Arts. We used to do the BJJ with CORE because we didn't have a system. And then Carlo, the head coach of CORE, he came over and introduced a BJJ system to our gym. So that's how we sort of started into sort of connection with them.
I see.
Yeah. So same thing, like all the gyms, well, pretty much most kickboxing gyms in Hamilton on the Thursday nights, we were doing a sparring night at CORE. Yeah, so we would have a good amount of like 35 people come down for sparring.
Yeah, and it's I haven't like trained there, but I've seen CORE MMA. It's quite a big gym.
Yeah, it's unreal for what it is, bro. It's pretty crazy. Like,
and I heard a little bit about the story of how it started. From like a small space into what it is now.
That's it. It used to be over on Killarney Road, just sort of like a workshop.
Yeah, workshop space. Yeah.
Oh, before that, it was even smaller on Lake Road. It was probably just the size of my garage.
Which is for those who are watching, like we're in a pretty decent sized garage, so kind of have like a little setup here, a bit of training.
When I see my house, I didn't matter about the house. I seen the garage had space. I'm like, enough to put the mats.
You always need a good garage space, eh?
Yeah, right.
And the other one was like I recently saw they've like upgraded the place at CORE. I think it was Carlo. I saw on the videos, like they've put up like a sauna and like they've got the ice bath going. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's just straight props to Carlo, man. That man is just he's just relentless. He honestly just has like such a good way of knowing what he wants, and he goes for it. So he's fully kitted out the back end of the gym. And it used to be just like a lunchroom that never really got used and 2 toilets. So now through there, he's done a full fit out. I think one of the guys from the gym, he's got a massage therapy.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he's got a whole room designated to him
for physio. And stuff
for
like
physio.
That.
So heaps of the dudes from the gym just roll through there after training and
too much injuries.
Yeah,
It's pretty normal. Like you come to think of it, like it always come out with something. Like it might not be huge, but like it's always something.
There's always niggles, bro.
Yeah,
I
so
can't remember the last time, that you be 100%.
That's why it's always good to have the. I think most big gyms they can't have like their own physio room and stuff like that.
Yeah,
there's a benefit of it.
100%. So as well as that, they got a sauna. So a really good sauna. That's
is that the Is this the infrared sauna or is it the
actually went for like a proper like a rock heater sauna.
Heated.
It was good, man. I used it for my last fight, just a little bit of a weight cut before we flew down to Dunedin, and it just like I was in there for like 10 minutes and I was just like drenching off. I was just like, this is unreal.
Just clearing it out. Yeah. And that's like I think there was previously there was a man, I just forgot his name, but there was a guy who opened a place called Recharge Cryotherapy.
Oh yeah, with the
out in Tirapa.
Yeah.
So he had the cryotherapy, and then
it's like the freezer thing, eh?
Yeah. And bro, man, that one's like, and like for
that like a quick ice bath or is that?
Yeah. So the thing is, like, man, I hate cold water, bro. Like, I'll be honest, man. I hate cold water. It's just me and cold water just don't get along.
Yeah.
But anyway, you have. I mean, there's so many benefits of the ice bath. I'm not gonna deny. But like, but the thing with the ice bath, you got to be in there for quite a while.
Yeah.
And not everybody can kind of
withstand.
Yeah, you can with the right way of like breathing and which is like the Wim Hof method, and you have a few other methods.
I think if you have to do it, everyone's possible of doing it.
Definitely, yeah, it is possible. Like I hate it, but if I had to do it, I'll do it. And that's 100%. The difference there. But if I could choose not to, but yeah, so when that cryotherapy came up, like I've always found out about like cryotherapy from athletes in the US, UK, and like all around the world, and they jumping on, and there's it's proven, the studies, the research behind it. I don't know now. I don't know the full damn research, but like there's a lot of benefits. I don't want to misquote or but there's a lot of benefits from cryotherapy. So when I think there's one in Auckland, there's one in Christchurch, but there wasn't anything in Hamilton. And then so this guy actually opened up. His name's Josh. Yes.
Oh right.
I just remember his name is Josh. So he opened up Recharge Cryo, and I heard about it. I was like, fuck, I should give it a try. And so I started going there, and bro, it really helps with like your recovery and all that. I felt, I
difference.
There's they'll tell you all the benefits of this and that, but like if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't, But when I went and I was training quite regularly, so like I felt the difference in, for my body, like just the aches, it wasn't really as bad, I think it kind of helped me with, in a way, like when your body actually does feel better, your stamina and your conditioning is better as well. Like, because you're able to,
everything's fresh.
Yeah, fresh, and like during your training, during your rounds or whatever, you just can withstand longer periods of training and stuff like that. And also like, for people who have a very hectic lifestyle, like, compare a 30-minute ice bath to a 3-minute cryotherapy session. Like, it's not cheap. Like, I'm not gonna deny. It's
you can't put a price on.
But
on
time. We all. That's the one thing we all want more of is time. And so like you think about it, like 3 minutes. It's pretty cool, bro. Like, but you can. I think like you can handle that. Just for that 3 minutes. Again, it's a mental thing.
Yeah.
But so they bring the surrounding temperature, around your body to like negative, I don't know, some crazy number. And I think after like 1.5 minutes or so, you really start to feel it, and like that's when you're pushing the boundaries. You feel it, and like I've met people who like can't stand it, can't handle it.
Oh, far out.
Yeah, I've met people who like they've tried it once and like.
I think every video that I've seen of someone in it, like they're just like smiling and
chilling
like waving or something.
Bro, but it is.
I don't know if it's for the gram or what.
Yeah, bro, it's just to smile. You don't want to look like shit when someone's taking a photo. I mean, you think about it, you don't want to have an ugly photo or video, So everybody's like smiling and whatnot, but like they're shaking in there. But I know because I've been there. But yeah, you know, it was real good, and he had a good setup, bro. So they had the cryo, and then they had the other one was the sport cryotherapy, and then they had the sauna as well. And man, sorry, I've drifted quite a bit there, but like talking about the sauna, and so he was actually explaining to me of the two, the infrared sauna and like the heated, proper, you know, heated rock stuff one. And the way that he put it was, when he had the choice to put it on, he was saying, do you want to go in a microwave or do you want to go in a proper sauna? And I thought about that. I was like, fuck, that actually makes a lot of sense, you know? The infrared ones, basically, those are microwaves, bro. You know? And I was like, man, yeah, that actually does make a lot of sense. You know, I was like, man.
I think originally when Carlo was looking at them, like he was looking at all the options.
Yeah, I think
they're a lot cheaper. I think.
The infrared ones are cheaper, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I might be wrong, but you know, from what I heard, the infrared ones are cheaper.
You might come out with a tan at the same time. I could probably use
it. Oh, bro, don't worry, bro. It's getting hot now, so I can, you get your tan soon, bro. Like I'm quite tan already, so I don't need anyone. Well, I could go a shade darker, you know. I don't mind. But yeah, like you know, it's. Well, the sauna, not only like talking about weight cuts, bro.
Yeah.
Not even about weight cuts. Like, it does have a lot of benefits for recovery as well. And he was actually explaining to me like the hot and cold, recovery and stuff like that. So like, it's awesome that you know, I think that's one thing that I feel like CORE is going in the right direction. You know, like
100%.
Progression, improving the gym, and like, you know, it's sad sometimes to see like. Okay, maybe I gotta be careful with my words, bro. Like, but like personally for me, I think that you've always got to move with forwards. Move forwards, flow, you know, with the flow, and with, you know, you got so many advancements in like, you know, science, and
like even I reckon probably like 2-3 years ago wouldn't have even heard of like cryotherapy or anything like that.
I think it has been around for a while, but wasn't as popular.
Yeah.
Because the cryotherapy ones, those are like, they're the Rolls Royce of like, you know, the whole recovery thing. It's not cheap. And I think it's just a big gamble maybe for people to like invest and jump into that.
Yeah.
But like then again, you gotta market it the right way, and like, you know,
100%.
all your business tactics gotta come into play, you know, to try to cover the cost. But if you think about it, like, it's like buying a fridge. Really, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, at first you're like, it's gonna be expensive, but you're gonna keep your food in there all the time.
It's funny you say that. At CORE, like next to the sauna, they set up a ice bath.
Yeah,
and they literally got a chest freezer, and they converted it.
Oh, nice!
But man, they did it like really good. They put like a UV filter on it, and like an actual pool pump. So all the water gets cleaned out.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and then put some nice.
I think that's quite important to clean
up. You open it up and you're like, oh, do I really want to see the thin layer of ice on the top? You're like, man.
Yeah. Have you tried the ice bath?
Yeah. I gave the one at CORE a crack when we were doing our sort of last.
How many minutes, bro?
Hard sessions. I did 1.5 minutes, and it was shocking. Because I've done it. I'll tell you after, but man, because I just had a really hard conditioning set. We did like bag rounds for, I think it was like 20 minutes, and then they decided that wasn't enough, so we jumped on like the assault bike and finished off with like a straight 5-minute interval set on there, and my legs were just absolutely shot, and they're like, all right, go jump in the ice bath, and I was just like. And when I got in there, my body sort of like cramped out. I couldn't relax.
Yeah.
And man, it was just like nothing but straight. It was just unpleasant.
It's like sharp as well. You feel it the moment you get in.
But I have our Muay Thai trainer, old Mikey, down at the gym. So
I see a lot of your photos. You're with Mike a lot of the time.
We always do pads, bro. And he's a good man.
Is he a what's his main martial art, or is it like Muay Thai?
I think Muay Thai.
Kickboxing?
He's come from. I think he used to be from like ETK gym in that. Yeah, over in there. So he's done that for years. Like he used to fight himself as well.
It's a very heavy Muay Thai background.
Yeah,
nice.
I remember. There was one of the first dudes I ever watched kickboxing fights of. in Hamilton was Peter Bishop Jr. And I actually ended up finding out Mike fought him like a couple of times as well.
Oh,
Like after
really?
like we done a couple of pad sessions, I was talking about like dudes I used to watch fight. He's like, oh yeah, no, I fought him. I was just like, what?
Oh wow, cool.
That's crack up. Yeah. So
What a small world.
yeah, I know, right? So yeah, we do pad work quite a bit. He's a solid pad man for me. But I go out to train out at his house. So he's got a house just out of Hamilton. And he's got a pool in that.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it starts off, we go up for the run up the big hill next to his house, and then come back. We do a pad session, and then after it's just he's got the full sequence. Then it's a pool, dive in the pool.
But that was when it was cold.
So it started off all happy. It was like the end of summer, and I was like, yeah, this seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
And then it was like, it doesn't seem that bad at the end of like a workout. You're like, yeah, I think I can do this. And then it started like we carried on, and it was getting like just closer and closer into winter, and it was like it was getting bad, man. And I'm like, man, how do I tell him I'm not gonna come out now?
You can't run away now.
He knew it as well. He would be cracking up. I'm like, bro, I don't know how much more I can do this.
Oh man,
so cold, but it's just like one of those things. It's like when you have to do it, you just do it. And
well, if it helps, right?
Yeah, well, it's 100%. Like you, it's so weird. Like you'll be sort of aching and everything after like smashing out pads for like 30 minutes, and then you jump in and your whole body's numb and you feel good again. You're like, you sort of feel tingly. It's just like you're taking a sensu bean or something.
Yeah, it just reignites, or what do they call it? It reignites your senses.
Yeah.
After you do it, eh?
Yeah.
But well, if it helps, why not, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So mainly, is other than Mike, who are the like your other coaches that you work with?
So my main MMA coach is Clint.
Clint.
Yeah. So he helps most of the pro fighters and a couple of the youth team as well. He does a bit of coaching for them. So we do a session with him every single day for just over an hour. And then I've got sort of Carlo. There's about 3 from the like jiu-jitsu side that I sort of just, whoever's free at the time, I sort of just try and get a little bit of time with individually, and we sort of work through things. And then that's sort of like the main coaching side, but we sort of got a good team at CORE where sort of everyone sort of will work together. We've actually got like a page, so if I got a fight coming up, they're all in the chat group and we're like, who's doing what this week? So it's
all training
together.
together.
And it's been a really good help work, especially we felt like that's where we sort of went a little bit wrong in past fights. And it's sort of, it's just little things, like it may not have made me like get a win or something, or like change the decision, but all those little things can definitely make a difference at the end. Yeah,
that's right. And like you kind of want to like have a dedicated, well, I wouldn't say dedicated, but like, oh well, yeah, you could a dedicated team or a schedule. You know, it's always hard, like you know, if especially like when you're working with people from different codes kind of thing, and trying to get them together.
All together, yeah.
You know, it might not be as easy.
Well, that's it. We sort of got to get everyone and then blend it together at the same time to make sure it all works together. Because obviously, you can't just be straight a BJJ person or a straight wrestler. You know, it doesn't work like that, or a straight striker. But it's at the point now where I think MMA is getting so advanced around the world, like, and especially like New Zealand's doing so well with like the city kickboxing guys and everything. They're showing so much success just from sort of, I think, having the right procedures and into fight camps and stuff like that. Yeah.
Hey, you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Like kind of building a solid program or structure, you know, is not as easy, you know, especially when you work in a gym where like you said, not everybody's doing this full time. So talking about that, like do you do this fighting for you? Do you do it full time, or do you do something on the side as well?
Not at the moment. So I have my own electrical company.
Nice.
So I started that 2 years ago. So I've been an electrician for probably about 11 years.
Wow, so wow.
Yeah, I've done it the whole way through. So and I sort of made that move just to give myself a bit more freedom. And it's definitely helped a lot.
Running your own show, you mean?
100%, yeah. So I can sort of choose and
Your
allow my
hours,
time. Yeah.
and how much you kind of take on as well, and you don't like
Exactly. So, and like if I need time off, it doesn't really matter. Sort of, I can just ask myself and then say, yeah, no, that's okay.
there's a bit less money in the bank, but you know, you have the
Yeah.
It's, I think that's the, you know, like, so technically you are sort of like an entrepreneur yourself. You know, like you're running
That's
your,
a flash way of saying it.
you know,
Yeah,
you're
can
running
say
your
that,
own
bro.
show, you're doing your own thing, you know, like
100%.
a business person, or you know, like and you have had the skills, like you had years of, you know, experience doing it. You pretty much, you know, off the bat, you know, pretty much almost everything there is.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite hard to say everything, but like, you know, you have a good,
Yeah.
you know, base
Understand
knowledge.
of everything. Yeah.
And like I think it's, especially when you crazy enough to be a fighter, or you know, or want to do fighting full time, or like be a professional fighter. It's always weird, you know, like you know, you have a lot of boys and girls who competing, fighting, like if they're not doing their own thing, running their own show, like you'd have to do some pretty weird jobs.
Yeah.
You know,
to be able to
train
and
like
everything.
weird hours as well, because like not every, it depends if the gym can't accommodate to you, you know,
Yeah, the
like,
class is having it like 2 a.m. or
yeah,
something.
you know, stuff like that. So like you, if you want to try to train full time, you in some ways you kind of have to like work
Yeah.
short hours, and like
That's it.
to try to make it for trainings.
So it's sort of, I think it works in well because our gym, the main classes start at in the early afternoon and go later, and there's sort of only just like the lunchtime jiu-jitsu. So for me, I usually work from say like 7:30 till like 3, and then I'll start training at like 4 o'clock, and then train
pretty much till in the evening.
yeah, until sort of sometimes 8 o'clock.
Yeah, just having that, I think like it's really big, you know. Running a business is not only like just to make like a lot of money, you know, but like it's
That's a
being,
security thing as well, you know.
yeah,
Like,
having that freedom to live life on your own terms.
100%. And even if like I was signed to a big promotion or anything like that, you don't have guaranteed funds there either, you know. If you're not fighting, you're not making money.
Yeah, that's, it's not like a fixed contract, a fixed payment, and then yeah, well, there's a
You
lot
don't
of
get paid
different
weekly.
yeah, you know, that sort of thing. So I think that kind of really works in your favor. So you do that on the side, and understand you're a father of a young kid as well.
Yeah, that's it.
How's like being a father? What has that done for you, or like what does it mean to you? You know,
It's crazy, eh? I think no one can really tell you what it sort of feels like until you sort of experience it yourself. It's pretty surreal, and the amount of like sort of love you have for your kid is sort of, it's just overwhelming, really. No, it's been so awesome to sort of being able to watch him grow. So he's 11 months old now. Yeah, it definitely drives you for a bit more motivation as well. Sort of, you want to provide for like your family and everything, you know. Yeah, it's definitely
they always say that like you know, when a man who is a father is fighting for like his family,
yeah,
it's like it's different, eh? You know,
yeah,
that
100%.
that mindset kind of like, so you're not just fighting for yourself now, like this.
You got some people relying on you.
Yeah, you know, and like to think about it, like this kid is, you've got to look after this kid's future, and like, you know, you feel like it kind of pushes you a little bit more. Like,
yeah, 100%.
every time you feel like you want to, you know, pull the handbrakes a little bit, you're like,
yeah,
you know, I can't. Like,
let's keep going.
You gotta work, you know.
Yeah.
Not just working hard, but you gotta work smart as well. Obviously, you know.
100%.
Yeah, but like I mean, would you say like it has been hard, like now with a child, or you know, a young boy, the time that you're putting into it's like work and training
Yeah.
and your child. Like how have you been able
It's-
to juggle that, bro?
I think, like, to be honest, COVID,
Mm.
it helped it a lot because the sort of time that you
Gave
sort of,
you that time out.
they're given time out. And I felt like I really thrived through that period. Being able to have time with the family, and then just had a lot more time for myself, and just appreciated all the other little things. And then I just had a lot, like, the motivation was sort of at a real high as well, because you just have that spare time to be able to do all those little things that you normally wouldn't be able to put time to.
That's it.
Yeah.
When else are you ever gonna get a period like that? Like,
I think,
bro,
yeah.
I don't want to give the wrong message. I don't want to make it sound like we're kind of enjoying, what's happening.
Yeah.
Like we don't, and
Nah.
like, it's a pandemic. People are dying. It's serious. Like, it sucks.
Yeah.
But like the fact that it has pushed us to have a
Time out.
Stop. It's not like a
You
slow.
see how much, like, even around the world, how much it changed, like the pollution, everything actually stopped it.
Yeah.
I seen something today on Instagram. It was like, it was something about all these, like, it was a bunch of different things that like we can stop this. If it was like the things that were stopped through like COVID, and it's like you can actually stop pollution, and you can actually stop all these other things,
The rate of degradation.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, these are all just only solely looking at the positives of it, but
Yeah, one of the ones that was really cool was the in Italy, showing the photos of Venice and how the water is cleared up. Cause last when I was there, like, the water it was during like winter, so it didn't really like smell. But I heard they said that like during summer it does start to smell a little bit.
Is it sort of just
Yeah, I think just dirty
human
water,
waste
and like whatnot, and like the waters were not that clean.
Mm.
But yeah, when they put up the photos, like the water is cleared up, it was not dirty, and like you could see the animals in there. I was like, yo, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shit, like I would have it would have been good to have seen that, but like unfortunately. Anyway, yeah, that's just so many things. But come to think of it, it's like it was earlier this year as well. Like this year has been quite the roller coaster. Talking about that, like earlier this year we had the Australian bushfires.
The bushfires. Yeah,
and that was massive, man. Like
that's crazy.
That was a huge one, bro.
Yeah,
and coming right.
You look at the scale of it. It's just.
It's one. I think wasn't it the biggest fires like in history?
Oh really?
I think so. I think so, or like, and maybe in this part of the world.
Yeah,
it might have been the biggest, but it was huge, bro. Like they had some satellite images where like it was just red. It's like fuck.
It's insane.
You didn't even know that was possible. Like shit, that's crazy, man. Yeah. So with having having that time off, and forcing you to like pull the handbrake, spend some time with your family.
Yeah.
And getting back into it, do you think there was like a little bit of a bit of a struggle, like moving back into gear? Or?
I think everyone was so keen and ready to carry on. There wasn't much of a hesitation towards it. Especially, I had a lot of my coaches sort of making sure I was keeping busy.
Yeah, that's it. Watching the weight as well.
Yeah, I was cooking up a storm.
Talking about weight and talking about weight cut. Earlier we talked a little bit about it. I want to ask you, like, what is your thoughts about weight cuts, your experience with weight cuts, and around that whole thing?
Yeah, I think it's silly that it's to a point now where you have to do it because everyone does it. It's just like, why don't we not do it?
They open up the weight categories.
Yeah, but you're always going to get people trying to cut to whatever's closest. And it's sort of, I suppose that's the way it is now, but it's crazy that, that you're always going to have to do it because, everyone's looking for that little bit of an advantage. Yeah.
I think is that like obviously you want to have a bit more advantage and like coming in bigger than the other person is always, but do you think that it's a big advantage or not really?
It depends what scale. I think there's also styles of how you fight as well. You know, if you ended up into sort of like heavy wrestling or grappling, I think the bigger person's always going to have a bit more of an advantage, and it's obviously harder trying to defend off like a heavier person. But I don't know I think I've had 2 fights at middleweight early on in my career, and I ended up getting like an early knockout finish, and I don't know if that's because I had
more
heavier
meat.
hands or something, you know.
More meat in the punch, bro.
But I don't know, I felt really good. But yeah, so it's hard to say. I think you'd have to do some proper research. And
do you have a nutritionist or like a professional who like looks after your diet and all that?
Not at the moment. We've always worked off just like a pretty strong sort of thing towards like the last couple of weeks of a fight camp. And that's always worked for me really well. I've had no problems with it, and I've always made weight easy.
So you're fighting at welterweight usually, and so the welterweight would be, is it 170, 75?
170.
170.
Yeah.
And what do you usually walk around at?
So that's pounds. I'm not sure.
Yeah, going into that pounds and
185,
kg.
185 is 84, and I'm usually 86 kg. So
yeah,
86, 87.
So dropping to 170 would be,
it's about 10 kgs.
Ooh.
Yeah, but usually the couple weeks before
you already started like
you sort of
cutting.
dieting down.
It's like a phase.
Yeah,
you kind of come down.
And then the last week's more of just like a water cut, which is pretty standard throughout everyone. I think everyone does that these days.
Yeah, that water cut. What is it like? What's the? Oh, there's no really like.
There's
safe number, but
I think
5%.
Yeah,
6%?
it's a different percentage for how much you weigh. Obviously, if someone's lighter, and they're still cutting like 10 kgs, that's like, it's a lot worse. Where if you're like 100 kgs and cutting 10, it's not that much. But I think around that middle range of people doing between sort of like 6 and 10 kgs is pretty standard. Yeah,
it's still quite a bit, but
it is
like,
quite a bit. Yeah,
6 to 10 kilos. Yeah, but so obviously, like, you've never had like a real issue with like weight cutting and all that, because you kind of have like the discipline to do it like weeks in advance.
Well, that's the thing. It's always confused me a little bit, like with people that miss weight. It's like they must know they're gonna miss weight well before the weigh-ins. Because like if you do it in a procedure, like along the way how it's going, and you'd have to know where you have to start, and how you're going through it, and you're gonna know by the end if you're not gonna make it or not.
Just not well. I think not well prepared is one. Like if they don't make weight, but
100%.
The other one would be like what we said, having an advantage.
Yeah.
So like,
well, I think some this you sort of seen in that UFC where all the Kiwi guys fought.
The recent one on 253.
Yeah. Well, Shane's opponent he came up against weighed in well over.
Yeah.
And it seems like they just didn't choose to cut the weight. Yeah, and they only get a 30% pay cut.
Yeah, which is like,
if you're gonna win, that's money that you weren't really
not gonna care any. Like, I think the also, like, it's good to understand that 30% of $10 and 30% of $100. It's a different number. You know what I mean? 100%. Like, if this guy knows that I'm not making big bucks, like I'm willing to part ways with that 30%,
Yeah.
Like if we talk about $1 million, for example, 30% of that is a lot of money.
And if you're talking about getting a win in the UFC, a lot of people would say, I don't really care if I don't make any money. If this fight might get me well up in the rankings. Ideally, like overall, I'm not really doing it for the money. Yeah.
That was quite a bit of a shitty situation, like, and
but it happens a lot, eh?
Yeah, it does. And I was listening to Eugene Behrman, which is the coach for Shane, for those who don't know. He talked a little bit about that weight cut thing, and you know how like he feels in a way it's sort of like cheating, you know.
Yeah.
And even John, you know who obviously you know who John Bruin is.
Yeah.
You guys under the
Under
same
the same
umbrella.
management, that's
Yeah.
it.
And even John was saying it like it's, you know, it's like a 2-part contract, and you know, first part is to fight, second part is to make the weight
Yeah.
for the fight. Like you don't commit to it. Like it's a bit
100%. It's just completely unprofessional, really. Eh?
but yeah, then again, not everybody's gonna play by the rules, eh?
Nah, you're always gonna have someone out there.
Yeah, and you know, in a way, like you kind of have to be. I guess you kind of have to be prepared for people who are not gonna play by the rules.
Yeah.
You know, so a bit shitty. But anyway, past the weight cut thing. So, oh, one of the things I wanted to ask you was like, when you decided to like compete in MMA and all that, were there any particular fighters or athletes that you looked up to, you know, or even before fighting or whatever?
I don't know. I think originally when we started like martial arts, I think you could even say that Luke was sort of like a role model for me, because he was the one who sort of first introduced MMA into IMA for us. So he pretty much told our coach that he wanted to have an MMA fight from seeing the UFC on the TV.
Wow, yeah.
And that was probably we had that just in our gym. That was probably one of the earlier MMA fights that being in Hamilton. I know that a couple of the original guys of the earlier days had them way back a couple of years before, but this is sort of like definitely the first I ever heard of having like MMA, and it was so unknown back then too.
It wasn't a big thing back
Nah,
then,
it's crazy. So he had his first MMA fight in our gym, and I had a kickboxing fight that same night on that same show, and I was 17. And I think he was 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also pretty young back then.
Yeah.
I see. And like, what about like, you know, on the international or the world scale, was there any fighters or MMA fighters that you kind of looked up to or kind of wanted to emulate?
Oh,
You know, every fighter has like a few fighters that they.
fighters. I don't know. I think I always love watching like Gokhan Saki in like glory days and that.
Yeah.
I think the old days of like K1, that was so cool. Watching all like just the OGs in there, like Ray Sefo and Mark Hunt back in the day. Like it's like I don't think we'll ever see something like that again, you know?
Yeah. And but talking about Mark Hunt, he's actually fighting in December.
Paul
Gallen, yeah, for boxing fight.
Bro, the comments on like Facebook and stuff are just too much, eh? Like reading.
Yeah, but like then again, you can't let this you can't let the comments get to you. You know, you just gotta do your thing. But he had I don't really know the full story, but he had some issues with the UFC.
Yeah,
and
I think around sort of the Brock Lesnar fight and stuff like that. Yeah, and I don't know, because it was weird. Like they've had like USADA come in, but then he was given like I don't know, from what I understand, he was given like a pass.
Yeah.
Just for the fight or something.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange situation, eh? But,
yeah, there'd be so much like down deep details to it. We're just like, oh man.
Yeah, with Brock Lesnar as well, like. Yeah, I like, man, you look at that guy and how could you not think, like, you know, I'm not judging and saying that he does use anything, but like, look at him.
Because of just the sword on his chest?
Yeah. You know, how can you not, you know, assume like, you know, man, this guy must be taking some pretty strong shit, you know?
I reckon it's pretty easy to tell these days.
Oh, man, talking about that, what are your thoughts on like, PEDs and like, you know, people who take PEDs, and what is your views on it, bro?
I reckon, you know, they need to be a lot more strict on it, or just allow it. It needs to go one way or the other, because I definitely think that there's people they've taken in the past and then gone on, and they might not have done it again, but they've still got their strength from being done it.
Yeah.
I guess.
So you've gone out of the cycle.
Yeah, you might have stopped training or something for a certain amount of time, and then like a lot of the guys that I trained over, and I spent probably 3 or 4 months in Thailand, trained at Phuket top team, and like a lot of the Russian guys there, man, they was just like ridiculously strong, eh? And just like these guys were fighting at lightweight, and they were sort of like bigger than me, and just like ridiculously strong. I was sort of like mind blown from it.
Felt that kind of power.
Yeah, just like real, just what didn't seem natural.
Yeah, and like it's not uncommon for a lot of Russian. I'm not saying all, but like a lot of Russian athletes, like who.
And these guys weren't like jacked up or anything. Sort of just normal looking dudes, but
physical strength.
Yeah, physical strength.
It's wild.
It was so cool being there at that time.
How was that experience like in Phuket top team?
It was awesome, bro. Yeah. I sort of felt like I sort of was coming, and this is when I sort of transitioned from like IMA to CORE. I already had the title and defended it once at XFC, and then I felt like I sort of needed just an extra push and just get more out of training. So I decided to just do a camp over there, and just did that full time. And that was probably, that was the best thing I could have done at the time. I sort of just was lacking a lot of sort of like wrestling base, and we never really done wrestling at all up to that point. And I think within the second month of being at...
when was this?
This was 2017.
2017,
yeah. So that was 3 years ago. And this sort of second month of being there, all these Russian dudes flew in, and they were from ACB, which was one of like the big Russian promotions there at the time.
Oh, okay.
And I think there was 8 of them, but all of them were sort of in like the top 10 and stuff like that. Ooh. And you'll come around to like Friday sparring nights, bro, and it was just deadly. It was like the best thing ever. It was like, I think we'd do 7 5-minute rounds.
Shit.
And
that's a lot of 5-minute rounds, bro.
And you just like have these dudes come out like, bro, you're next or something like that. Or you're number 3 or something like that. And then like you'll be sparring, you'll be in like your second round, and you're like, the dude who just told you want to go next is like sitting down, like having a rest, and you're like,
oh what?
You bastard.
He's like prepping, he's like saving his energy. Hey you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. When he said like that was like the next round was with you.
Yeah.
The round before he like took the round off.
Yeah.
And kind of like rested.
Bro, they're sneaky, man.
Yo.
Like, you'd see it. Some of them were like just straight ruthless. They'll just go straight through. And like I remember some of them, it was sort of my earlier days, and I remember one dude just being like, just punch me your hardest, just like in the head and stuff like this. Just like
what?
Just like, bro, like
just like opened up and let you. Oh
yeah.
my goodness, what the heck?
These guys are crazy, bro. I was like, okay.
Okay, yeah, let's go. But how's it the experience like living in Thailand and all that? Was that your first kind of experience like living overseas for a period of time?
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty awesome, mate. It's so set up for exactly just fighting over there. You got the Soi Thai, which is just a long street. It's got Tiger Muay Thai at one end, and it's got Big Top Team at the other, with a bunch of other Muay Thai gyms in between. It's got food, massage places, and everything. And
it's generally lower cost of living.
Yeah, it was pretty affordable. I think I got a place organized for like the first week, and then after that I moved and I stayed at a studio apartment just like right next door to the gym.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I was
that's
just
a good setup.
Waking up, come back, shower.
Yeah. That's pretty much living the fighter's life, eh?
It was good. It was good. But yeah, that was sort of my first experience at training full time, and it took like this first couple of weeks to adjust to like the heat and everything, because I just went in there straight off the plane. I just wanted to train, and I just trained for like the first like 4 days in a row, and then at the end of it, I was just absolutely wrecked day.
The humidity and all
yeah,
that.
everything.
It
Was
does
just
play a
like I
part,
wasn't
eh?
drinking enough water, and I got a little
Yeah,
bit
the
sick.
difference between like there and
Yeah.
here is like sometimes here we don't drink as much water.
Yeah, and you
Like-
can get away with it.
Yeah, but there, like you've got to drink your water. eh?
Yeah, 100%. Nah, it's pretty ideal. Sit up there.
The what was the biggest thing you kind of took away from that like that camp in Thailand?
I think mostly the wrestling. Yeah. There was a coach, Eric Ersick there, and he really had a strong wrestling game. Yeah, it took a lot away from that. And that helped me a lot for my upcoming fight because I versed Brogan Anderson in Australia for the XFC bout. Defended it against him, and obviously he's like a heavy grappler, so being able to work sort of like 3-4 months in like a wrestling camp and then go and fight him, it was definitely like exactly what I needed. Yeah, I got taken down a couple of times, but I was able to just get straight back up. So
not allowing them to control the position.
yeah, 100%.
That's I think. That's,
I mean, you may get taken down, but it's what happens from there.
yeah,
mainly.
how you react to being taken down.
Yeah, you don't
not-
like curl up in a ball.
Yeah, or just I think the other one's like not accepting being
100%.
the lower position.
Yeah,
Well, that's it's not as easy as it sounds. And what do
Yeah.
I know? But that's the other thing, like with I think with wrestling, like it's not only about like physical strength and like positioning and like skills and all that.
Yeah.
Like I think it's with them. It plays a lot with your mind.
mindset. Yeah,
Like if you get getting taken down and
Yeah.
held down, like it kind of screws with your head, eh?
yeah. Well, that's what I loved about like Eric. He was a real harsh coach, and he'd swear at everyone and all the rest.
In a way, like he has to, eh? Like
Yeah.
the tough. You
Well,
gotta go through the tough
we're in
training.
a harsh environment when we're fighting, so no use trying to be nice to people, you know.
That's it.
But I think the best thing that we did was everyone in the class. So the fighters would have to go. Like we were sponsored to train, so obviously all the training was free, but we had to at least turn up to I think 2 wrestling classes and all the pro sparring teams. I went to most classes anyway, but so you'd have sort of like 20 people in the wrestling class, and all like high level, and a lot of these like Russian guys as well. And then we'd all sit along the back wall, and then he'll just call 2 people up, and you wrestle in front of everyone until you pin or the other person.
Yeah.
And you just go hard. And it's just like, especially when everyone's watching, and you just go relentless. But what I found is that a lot of I don't know if it's for myself, like I know just like to never stop and never give up and all that stuff. And I think I got like a little bit of respect from him for that, because a lot of the dudes would, like might get taken down and oh yeah, stop, like that's it, done. Like I might get taken down, I'll just like keep going, just being that like that annoying person that just keeps like pushing, you don't sort of give up until they say stop or something like that. Yeah. But that was sort of definitely it grew my game a lot. Yeah.
Want to ask a little bit about like so you're holding a record of 11-2. I want to ask, as much as it's like awesome to like keep winning and you feel like you're on the top of the world, but experiencing your first loss.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you, and how did you kind of get around it?
Well, that fight that came up, so my record was 5-0 at the time, and I had 5 first round finishes.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so it was really good. And
you're on like a roll, bro, like a win streak.
and I was sort of just at our sort of like martial arts gym, we sort of never really, would still train every day and everything, but we never really, looking back now, we never really had a proper structure to anything. We sort of just did what we do,
Just
sort of,
there.
like kickboxing. We have a really strong kickboxing background and taekwondo, and that's sort of what we did with a little bit of BJJ. And I got offered, obviously having like all these impressive fights. I just won the XFC title.
Which
in
in
Australia.
what number fight did you get the XFC title? Fourth fight.
Fourth fight. Oh no, sorry, fifth fight.
Fifth fight. Yeah.
Yeah. So I won 4 in New Zealand, and then
Fifth one in Australia.
Yeah. and I got offered to fight Benny Alloway. So he was a UFC vet, and his record was like 26-4.
Wow.
Yeah.
30 fights under his belt.
Yeah, and this was for Carnage in the Cage in Mackay in Australia, and it was for the welterweight title. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
And I just went over there with one of my mates who I sort of been training partners for a long time. He was never really my coach. He was sort of just my mate. Went over to Mackay. It's like way up the top of Australia. It's kind of reminded me of Huntley. It's probably a bit
it's a depressing place there.
Like,
let's not get there.
There was just heaps of pregnant girls like walking around with prams, and all their husbands must be off at the mines or something. I don't know how all these people came to the show because I never seen a guy there. So had that fight. I think Kieran Joblin fought on the same card. Yeah. And I was actually holding my own completely, sort of on the stand-up, and I was probably getting the better on the feet. And it was just in every round he took me down just against the cage. Couldn't really get in a dominant position. I was sort of just defending enough, but I never really done enough like wrestling to sort of like read the takedowns or anything. So with him getting a sort of takedown in each round at the end, it sort of was enough to outdo me on points. So that was my first loss. And then initially, I was quite gutted, but I don't know. I think because it was so, I knew exactly what I had to do to beat him, and I knew I could beat him. So I wasn't that gutted. I sort of was like, I need to work on this straight away. So then I went straight back to the gym. I'm like, man, if I done that, like if I bet this guy, that would have been huge, because then I actually had quite a few people message me, like different managers, saying that they'd be able to get me in the UFC prior to that fight, saying that if it went well, it would have been pretty much a sure thing. So it's like
that's a bit of pressure as well, saying like you had to do well to, you know.
Yeah, but for me at that point, like it was crazy. It never really, like, I think before I fought over in Australia for the XFC title and that, when I had probably like 4 fights at home, I never thought that I'd fight out of New Zealand. Like, to me, that sort of like blew my mind that I'd ever fight over in Australia. And then I ended up getting the title in Australia, and then I'm like, what's next? And then,
do you feel like also like there's a bigger following for the sport over there, and
yeah,
like more
100%.
support and
I think just the per capita people
size,
size. I think there's a lot more support into people. I think everyone that I've fought from after my 6th fight had been a full-time pro fighter.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and I still would.
Yeah, a little bit closer as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So pretty much you quickly saw what was like the stuff that you were lacking in that from that loss.
Yeah.
And you like went straight and like worked on it.
Yeah.
And started to build like a stronger base in that. That's like wrestling is what you said.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for sure. And it's sort of at the same point it was clicking like, man, I could actually make something of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just sort of the first time to me. I was sort of like, man, like this guy was in the UFC. And I think I never really had the right mindset going into that fight, thinking that like what's possible after that. I was sort of just thinking that it was, I don't know, just another fight for me, you know? Yeah. And then because like would you say like you didn't really have like a clear vision, or like, you know, you didn't really have set goals kind of thing? Yeah, 100%. I was sort of just fighting for the sake of it, and I sort of never really expecting much from it. And that's sort of when I made sort of like the switch to really thinking I could, make something of it, and things I need to change, and just went out and did that really. So from here on, like, what are your future plans, bro? Like for the immediate future, and for, let's say, maybe
for the next 5 years, or?
Yeah, for me, obviously UFC is the goal. I'm thinking that I'm gonna possibly have to need one more fight to really
Secure
push the
that.
point. Yeah. I mean, feel I'm definitely at a point now where I can be finishing people in the UFC. I see fights and I'm like, man, let me in there.
It's kind of itching.
Yeah. So especially like around sort of doing that, I need to sort of be definitely trying to train more full time. So sort of got to put things in place to take care of the business while I do that. So definitely want to be sort of training full time and then really make a career of being in the UFC. And then, yeah, I sort of even looking at people I want to fight already and sort of plotting a way where I can quickly make it to the sort of the top, you know? Yeah. Because there's no use being in the UFC for 10 years and just fighting nobodies.
Yeah, that's it. Like you...
I just want to be in and out, you know, bro. I just go in there, get the gold, retire a happy man.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You know, that would be the ideal...
That's it.
You know, way to do it, you know. Go in, you know, work your way to the top, fight the, you know, prove that you're the best, make as much money as you can, set up your family, you know, you know, try to create some generational wealth, you know, and that's it, because it's not easy, you know. And like, I think that's the other one, like, how long can you or your body
handle it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What would be what do you reckon, like, the age you think you'd go to before you decide to, like...
I think around 35 you definitely got to ask how you're doing. Because obviously you don't want to live an old painful life.
It is true.
Yeah. But it's also like I've been talking to my coach about this as well. It's how you fight. How it's gonna...
how much damage you take
exactly
in your fights and all that.
Yeah. So that's something that we've been really thinking about. And a lot of my first style of fights is just out there and kill, you know.
Scraps.
Yeah. And I remember my first couple of fights, like I don't think I remember, it's just adrenaline was working, and slowly, it's just more you fight, the more calm I've got.
Experience.
Yeah, everything sort of comes together. And I think that's sort of working towards, ideally, fighting smarter.
Definitely, yeah. Not, like, I think one of the ones, like the old school fighters who used to fight wars and stuff like that, like, you take a lot of hits to the head. You know, a lot of unnecessary damage. Yeah. That's pretty crazy, man, you know. And I mean, you want to retire and not suffer, like, you know, brain problems, or
you want to have a good life.
Yeah, you obviously you've worked hard to get what
100%.
you earn, and you know, you don't want to come to a point where you're not gonna be able to enjoy that. That kind of sucks. Like, if you know, but you can't really. I mean, you can't really say, but like, you could try your best to fight a smart fight. Would you say that?
Yeah, you try your best. You know, sometimes you just have to.
Yeah, you have to get into that. You have to get into that deep dark space and
bro, just do work.
Pull up whatever you can, eh? Would you say there have been several situations where you've had to do that, like get into that, you know, deep waters? And
I think the one time is probably the most recognizable was the fight I had for the XFC Welterweight title. So I fought Kit Campbell over in Melbourne for that one, and that was in 2018. That guy pissed me off.
Why was that? Like
just the attitude. I think
the trash talking and all that.
Not even trash talk. It was just like you could just tell he thought everything about him. I suppose you're meant to be like that. You're not going to be not confident in yourself. But he was saying like, oh, everyone runs away from me when they fight me, but he's going to get a surprise when he fights me and stuff like that. Like, I'm not like a pussy like the rest of the dudes he's fought.
Oh.
And like even when I seen him, like he just wouldn't even like look at me or anything like this. And then like before the fight, it was so out of it. They played the national anthem, the Australian national anthem, before the fight, and like we've been in the ring already for like felt like ages, and this dude's just like bouncing up and down, just like looking at me, being like, yeah, we want to effing go, and like this. And I was just like, oh man, I hate this guy so much.
Oh man, what a dick.
And I was like, oh, I've never been so focused in my life, I was just like, man.
There was a different kind of determination to
it was, and I can't remember once in that fight feeling tired at all. And that's
it's like a different drive, right?
Yeah, which is good. And I've just been trying to sort of figure out how to channel that back in, you know?
Yeah, man, that's really cool to try to get that mindset and like
100%
that tunnel vision, eh?
Yeah, because that was an absolute war, that fight.
Would you? Okay, now that we've mentioned about this, like when someone's a dick, it kind of makes it a little bit easier, right?
Yeah.
You know. But what if you put in a situation where it's a nice guy, bro? You know what I mean? Like,
well, even my last
it's
fight,
like mental games, eh? If you think about it.
yeah, even my last fight, I actually knew him because New Zealand's so small.
Yeah, it's a small place, you know.
And we were pushing for opponents, and thankfully, they found Sean was keen, and he actually messaged me.
Oh really?
Yeah. I was like, oh shit.
Oh man.
He's like, yeah. Have you found someone to fight yet? I'm like, nah, they're still sort of looking. And he's like, oh, I'll fight you. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. Have you had any MMA fights? Because I hadn't really like known of him at all. He's like, yeah, I've had like three wins or something. I was like, oh okay. He's like, yeah, tell Matt Vaile to reply to my message or something. And I was like, man, you're out of it, dude.
Yeah.
And then like messaging me like after the fight got like when the fight got
was
confirmed and that.
Yeah.
Being like, yeah, have a good camp and all this stuff. Yeah.
But in a way, like keeping it respectful, you know, like
yeah, there's 100% like. You both know you're gonna try and beat the other person, but there's
you're gonna knock, you switch each other's lights out.
But like if you're gonna play the bad dude, ready to back it up, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the like you look back in like history, like there are a lot of fighters who use that to their advantage, you know.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Okay, let's put like someone like Tyson Fury for example. He plays a lot of mind games.
Yeah.
Man, like it's really interesting. Like you see like all the press conferences, the you know the tours and the stuff he'll go out and he'll say like he tries to break people even before the fight, you know, and like it was it's like this mental victories, you know, kind of thing that you.
It comes so natural though as well. You get the people that sort of push it too much, you know.
Yeah, one of the interesting stories about like you know mentioning about Tyson Fury was obviously you know everyone knows that he went over to Ukraine, was it Ukraine or Russia, fought Vladimir Klitschko at the time, who was a champion for like so long, and he just completely outboxed Klitschko and made a fool of him, you know, like, and won all the titles before he derailed himself and you know gone and like he did the fucking he just like ruined his, you know, life. But he had issues, you know.
Yeah.
Not gonna deny he had issues. But like the fact that he mentioned the story about the hot pool story. I don't know if you heard of that one before.
Nah.
So Vladimir Klitschko, he actually went for one of the Vladimir's earlier fights. He was one of the sparring partners. So they got all the boys to come to Ukraine to train with Klitschko as his sparring partners. And apparently Klitschko had this thing where he'd get all the boys and they'll go into the hot pool, or I don't know. He might have said it was like they all go in naked or something like that. Like it was some crazy shit. But anyway, they all jump into this like really hot pool. Okay, and Vladimir likes to play this mind games with everybody that he'll be the last man standing in the pool. So Tyson Fury knew that it was like, you know, and he said, okay, I'm going to play this game with him. So he stayed in the pool and tried to like stay longer than Klitschko. And so he did. He got to the point where Klitschko just couldn't handle it anymore. And like he said that he was going to pass out, bro. And like, but he knew he had to. So then Vedmikitschko, he got up and left. So that to him was like, man, I've won.
Beat him already.
Yeah, I beat him already. But the funny one was like, man, he just left. I can't just stand up straight away and leave. I got to stay a little bit longer. So, oh my. Just to prove his point, he had to stay a little bit longer. And like he was saying, like he got up, like a few minutes after he got up and walked, like he just almost like knocked himself out. That was crazy. But like he said, it was funny, he said like years before even they fought, he knew that he had already won the fight. That's crazy, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Like you think about it. I mean, like, when you come to like having that advantage, we were talking about having that weight advantage and stuff like that. Also, like, if you've kind of got into someone's head, some people who don't have a strong mindset can have their mind rattled a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you're not too sure, can I do this? Can I beat this guy?
You just add to their self-doubt.
Really. Yeah, and you kind of build on that. But I guess, everybody has their own tools.
Yeah.
Some people might have that as their tool. Hey, you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. We've come to the section now. Wise words from the wise man, bro. So what would your, do you have any word of advice or things you'd like to say to people who are watching or listening to this, bro?
I think when I think about it, I suppose you always it's a hard one. I'm not much of like a wisdom man. But
Yeah. Not much to give a lot of advice.
Yeah, but I think mostly you gotta always stay positive. Yeah. No matter what happens. I think if especially going through, if you're doing a fight career, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and nothing's ever going to be easy. Like, I feel like I've come so close to getting to like the point of like the UFC so many times, and then little things have just pushed it out, but I've never sort of lost hope of like the goals, and you just got to keep on pushing towards that. End of the day, you got to try and let nothing sort of get in the way of it. And always keep positive and know that you're gonna eventually make it. Yeah.
Wow, that's good advice, bro. Like for someone who says that he doesn't give advice, that's pretty good advice, bro. I don't know about that. Other than that, would you like to give a shout out to like sponsors and stuff like that, people who help you along the way?
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll start with just CORE MMA. I've seen a whole team there. All the coaching staff, you guys helped me so much, and everyone from the gym. We've got such a supportive team down there, and it's a good little family. And it's just it's probably what I feel like is probably like the best training facility in New Zealand at the moment for MMA. And then we got Challenger Sports Management. So these guys, we already won up this year, so we're already back on top. And I feel like we're in a good team. These guys got a good crew, and we're gonna.
Who currently the guys who are in Challenger Sports Management at the moment?
Yeah, the fighters.
Yeah.
I think originally it was like John Bruin, Byron Chivers.
Yeah.
Me. I think there's a couple of foreign.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, overseas guys. Brogan Anderson just got signed. I'm thinking there might be a girl, maybe. Yeah.
MMA fighter as well?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's they're pretty new to the game, but I think obviously with like Dan's background, he's got exactly what it needs to sort of.
He's
make
in
success.
the team as well, and sort of has like a leadership role in that.
That's it.
I think that's I think it's really good. Like it's moving in the right direction. Because before there wasn't really like a good strong management team.
Nah, especially not in New Zealand.
In New Zealand, and like you look at you know, you look at like on a world scale, what's, you know, how like they've been able to achieve a lot,
Yeah.
having like management teams to push,
Yeah.
you know, instead of being a free agent,
Yeah.
as
Well,
you'd say.
that's why I was pretty lucky when I went and fought over at XFC. The owner of XFC, Justin Lawrence, he actually offered to be my manager for free.
Oh
So
wow.
he wasn't taking any sort of benefit from it, just solely trying to help me. And he did the same for Luke as well. And he got Luke into the UFC, obviously. And that was, yeah, you can't really.
Yeah, but definitely I think it's like, yeah, moving in the right direction, you know,
Yeah.
building teams. And obviously like if you think about it, like one of the big ones, like paradigm, which is where Israel's at, and
Yeah,
like, you
Conor
know,
McGregor and
yeah,
kind of
who
stuff.
they manage, they have, and not only just like that, but they have like a big team. So obviously when you have a more, you know, a bigger team, you
Yeah,
have more to negotiate with an organization like the UFC,
100%.
you know. And I think a lot of people are kind of picking up on that, and they know and they see and they understand. Like look at Dominance MMA, which is the one who manages like Khabib and Justin Gaethje and
Yeah.
Henry, it used to be Henry
that,
Cejudo and all that. Ali
Ali.
Abdulaziz, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, he's man, like there's I don't know too much, but a little bit into the story of Ali. I did a bit of research into it and what he's done, how much he's grown. It's crazy,
Yeah.
you know. But like that's the thing,
He
like
was like a refugee. Or
yeah,
something,
bro,
wasn't he?
and what he's done with his life and how he's kind of, you know, he had access to all these individuals and
Yeah.
how he's kind of used that to build
That's pretty
something.
unreal, eh?
It's crazy, bro. And like, you know, then again, like what he's achieved, like, you know, it sets examples. So, you know, it's like case studies there, you know.
Yeah.
You know, when you're back in school, you studied about like stuff from the past and like how to work from it and stuff like that. Like, you know, and there's like a lot of these examples out there. And there's so much talent here. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, New Zealand, Australia, and all that.
And
but
it's
like,
sort of just casted over.
yeah. So like I think with management teams, or like it's like a union kind of thing, eh?
Yeah.
You know, with more people, a bigger pool
Getting
of talent.
better exposure.
Yeah, you can try to push for more and try
Yeah.
to get the fighters into the UFC.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that would be pretty cool. Yeah. So any other than
Yeah.
challenges?
So NZ Boxer. Boom, boom,
yes.
boom. So those guys are awesome, man. They yeah, they give me all the training gear I need.
Heaps of gear.
Heaps of gear. It's the best too. The best gloves. Yeah, those guys are awesome. Real supportive. And then we got Health 2000. So those guys are awesome. They pretty much help me with not only just supplements, it's all like the health 3 needs. So they're really good as well. Like if I'd be like, oh, I might have sort of like a sore joint or something, or I'm having trouble sleeping or something, they know, and they're health experts, and they sort of
what to help you out with.
Yeah, 100%. So it's a pretty wide range. So I'm pretty stoked to have them on the team. And then with my last fight camp, Muscle Fuel.
Ooh,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
some
and
good food.
That was good
from
man.
Muscle Fuel. Yeah.
Straight up, because especially having the kid and everything, yeah, it saves a lot of time. Just having a quick snack on the go. Sometimes you're pushed for time and you got to eat before training, and you got to make sure you're 100% and you can put the effort in the training. So yeah, 100% makes a difference.
Yeah, you want to be like properly fueled there before, like you know, before training and all that.
For sure.
Yeah, and like then again we talk about time.
Yeah.
You know? Some people argue like it you know, meal prepping doesn't take a lot of time or whatever, but we all know it takes a little bit of time. Come on, man. But yeah, that's pretty much all the sponsors.
Yeah,
that
that's
you
pretty
mentioned.
much
You
my crew.
didn't miss anybody out.
Hopefully not.
Oh man, we've gone close to hour and 20 minutes, man. That's quite a while. So yeah, I think we should wrap it up here. We'll probably be in time to watch the Anderson
UFC.
Silva and Uriah Hall fight.
Nice.
Yeah, hopefully. I think that should be soon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, what just before we go, what do you think on that one again? What's your prediction?
I'm thinking Anderson might push it out to a decision.
Ooh.
Yeah. Unless there's some flukish
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Anderson winning by decision as well.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It'll be good to see him get a win on his so-called retirement.
Yeah, well, that's what he said. Like,
For UFC, I guess.
yeah, and it was weird. Like, I listened to the interview he did with Ariel Helwani, and I don't know. Like, it wasn't really clear. Like, it could be his
Yeah.
last UFC. He has like 2 fights on his contract.
I might go fight another promotion.
Yeah, but I think, well, like, he still can fight.
Yeah.
Like, that dude still can go. So,
Yeah.
like, why would he? I mean, if you think about it, like, if he doesn't want to retire, like, he can still
No
fight.
reason why you should.
Yeah, he can still go out and make dough, you know? Like, why
Yeah.
not? Make as much as you can while you can.
100%.
Yeah, so anyway, Matt, thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate you coming to do the podcast with us. And I want to wish you all the best in your fighting career and, you know, being a father, raising your kid as well.
Cheers,
and
bro.
hopefully we all get to see you in the UFC pretty soon.
That's
And
it.
yeah, man, we hope to see you do big things, man, inside and outside the ring, brother.
Nice. Thanks, brother.
Cheers, brother. Thank you,
Pleasure.
man. All right. Sweet. Let's wrap it up here. See you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And I'll see you on the next one.